Video 44 for Math Lesson 6.1, Using a Line Plot to Organize Data. Now, we are going to be working with data for the next several lessons, and you are going to be asked to use those statistical landmarks quite often. We reviewed them earlier this school year, but if you have forgotten what they are, it would be a good idea to review them again. Remember, we do have the definitions written in your notes, and you can also find them in the student reference book. I think it's page 119. It's very important that you know what you're being asked to find. For example, if you're asked to find the median or the mean or the range. Okay, let's talk about organizing data. Once the data have been collected, it helps organize them in order to make them easier to understand. Now, data that's been collected might be something like a survey that was done, or the results of a test, scores that have been compiled, things like that. Line plots and tally charts are two methods of organizing data. Both the line plot and the tally chart help to organize the data. They make it easier to describe the data. For example, let's take a look here. Miss Barton's class got the following scores on a 20-word spelling test. Make a line plot and a tally chart to show the data below. Okay, so here were the scores of the students on the test. Okay, now if we make a line plot, it looks like this. We're working with a number line, and in this case we only need to show the parts of the number line that go from 10 to 20 because nobody scored less than 10 and 20 was the maximum you could get. Notice how there's arrows on the end because the number line continues in both directions forever and ever. So we want to show that with these arrows. Now, just like any graph, we need to have labels. So these numbers down here represent the number correct on the test. These X's represent the students. And of course we have a title, scores on a 20-word spelling test. So now our data is all organized. This is helpful because we can just look at this line plot and it tells us many things. We can easily see right off the bat that the minimum score was 10. And we can easily see that the maximum score was 20, which helps us see that the range had to have been 10 because 20 minus 10 is 10. Max minus min equals range. I can also see that I can easily see the mode just because I can see that 18 goes up the highest with the X's. So 18 was the most occurring score. Now I can't just right off the bat figure out the mean or the median, but it is still kind of helpful because here we have our numbers in order basically. So to figure out the median is not as hard. One thing I like to do to figure out the median, I know you could just take these numbers and list them in order, like largest to smallest, cross off from the ends until you get to the middle. But another thing you can do is I can see, okay, well I've got 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20, 22, 24, 26. There's 26 X's or data points on this graph. So since half of 26 is 13, I know that 13 from both sides is going to be my middle point. It's an even number of data, so there's going to be 2 in the middle. So if I count 13, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, from the beginning is going to be 17, 13 from the end is going to be 18. 17 and 18 are my 2 middle numbers, and so I have to find the mean of those, or halfway between those. So my median is going to be 17.5, and I didn't even have to write anything down. Kind of handy. And this is a tally chart, what a tally chart looks like. Let's take another look. The line plot here shows student scores on a 20-word spelling test. same, you can see it's the same scores, the same line plot. Now let's say we were being asked to find the landmarks for the data, okay? Just like I pointed out. To find the median, we can list the numbers in order too, okay, and cross out one number from each end till we get the two numbers in the middle, which would be 17 and 18. So the median is 17.5, which is, halfway between 17 and 18. That way works as well. If you don't understand what I explained as far as counting to the middle, don't even think about it. I don't want it to mix you up. Just remember, to find the median, you have to list the numbers in order. We usually do them like smallest to largest. Cross out one number from each end of the list and keep crossing that way until you get to the middle. Since we have an even number in our set, there should be two middle scores. If we had an odd number of numbers in our set, then we would get just one middle score. But I always kind of count how many results do I have. If it's an even number, then I know there's going to be two in the middle. That just helps me, not get mixed up. And like I said, just looking at this chart, I can find half of the statistical landmarks easily. So there's another example of one way to organize data. So far we've talked about bar graphs, we've talked about circle graphs, and line plots. And soon we're going to add something else to your repertoire, but not today.